And now, the best coaches in college football. Welcome to the Voice of College Football. We break down the game we all love each and every day with you. Best discussion, debate, and analysis because of your participation. This is the third in our three-part series as we rank all the coaches in the Power 5. We have made it all the way up to the top 20. Check out the first two editions, and also join us for our live stream coming up this weekend, in which we will go live with you, and you will be able to deliver your feedback. Tell me where I missed it on our Power 5 coaches rankings, and the Group of 5 rankings will be coming up soon as well. All right, let's get to it. Top 20 in college football right now. Not based on history, for the most part. Of course, if a particular coach has a great career and they have one down season, they're not going to be shot to the bottom. So it's not just strictly evaluated on the 2022 season, of course, but it's based on current value. And at number 20, we've got one who is soaring up the charts based on a splendid first season in Washington, and of course that's Kalen DeBoer of the Huskies. Rising star, did a nice job at Fresno State, won 12 of 18 games there. Now at Washington, it's almost as if the Jimmy Lake experiment never existed. A perfect bridge from Chris Peterson, one of the best in the business, to Kalen DeBoer, finishing off an 11-2 season, top 10 in the nation for the Huskies, and Michael Penix back at quarterback. Big things expected out of Washington and Kalen DeBoer here in 2023. Let's go to the Big Ten, and a coach who has had a nice run at this current school. It's a blue blood. It's one of the foundation pillars of college football, but he really has yet to completely break through, and that's, of course, James Franklin, Penn State. Nice run of 11-2 type seasons. Had the down 2020 and 21 bounce back nicely. 2 losses, though, and we know who he lost to. Therefore, the run to the Rose Bowl was only made way because of the college football playoff appearances by Ohio State and Michigan. James Franklin needs to beat the big boys, and he needs to be able to do it on the road as well. Happy Valley's been somewhat kind, but he cannot take his show on the road and beat the big two in the Big Ten, and now USC is going to coming on board in 2024. James Franklin, Penn State. Time for a breakthrough. He's had a great run. He's had a nice run, but more is expected, especially considering the cash that he's bringing in. James Franklin at number 19. On to number 18, and we go to Oklahoma State, and another consistent winner with less talent, and that's Mike Gundy. Consistent winner, basically for a long, long time, considering if you go back to that 2011 season in which they almost went to the BCS championship game, played in the Fiesta Bowl, then they settled into this 8-4, 9-3 range, and it seemed to be the most comfortable job in the country. Then he breaks out in 2021, comes that close to a playoff appearance. Then they really drew back this past season, had a disappointing offseason as well. Really lost a lot of talent there. Mason Cobb, one of their best defenders, goes to USC, and then they also lose Spencer Sanders to Ole Miss inexplicably. Even Mike Gundy publicly said, I don't know what happened there. 17, we go to Dave Clawson in Wake Forest, and what an amazing job he has done there. He has basically taken a team that recruits in the 50s, 60s, 70s, and of course he's responsible for that, but who else is going to Wake Forest and bringing in top 20 classes? So it's a given that you are not going to be able to bring in the best talent at Wake Forest. You may get a 4-star once per year, maybe once every 2 cycles, but basically you've got to take 3-star talent and you've got to win in the ACC, and he's done that and beyond. He wins his bowl games for the most part. He is coming off an 11-2 campaign the year before in getting to the ACC championship game. Had a bit of a drop-off this past season, but still 8-5 with another bowl win. Now he's going to have to do it without Sam Hartman, but Dave Clawson always finds a way to get to postseason play at Wake Forest. At number 16, we've got Sam Pittman of Arkansas. A lot of the shine taken off of the Pittman regime there at Arkansas after he took over a poor football program where Chad Morris couldn't get anything done. Really brought that program to its knees, losing to the likes of Colorado State and North Texas and Western Kentucky and the like. Sam Pittman instantly instilled credibility into this program as just an offensive line coach at Georgia who had never been a head coach, but 2 outstanding seasons at Arkansas. Then this past season, the first regression. KJ Jefferson is coming back in 2023 after the Hogs finished out with a Liberty Bowl win, slightly 55-53 over Kansas to avoid a losing season. Sam Pittman, Arkansas, difficult place to recruit there at Arkansas, and also playing the toughest division in college football from year to year. Sam Pittman at number 16. Our number 15 coach, we go to, this is the biggest wild card and the most unexpected climb through the rankings that you can imagine. And it's, of course, Sonny Dykes at TCU. There is nothing in Sonny Dykes' past that could have led us to predict, or anybody else to predict, his rise and TCU's rise this past season. He takes over a 5-7 TCU team that had not really done anything since 2017. And he had 2 nice group of 5 stops at Louisiana Tech and SMU. So he was coming off a nice showing that earned him the TCU job, but in his one Power 5 job in the Pac-12 at Cal, he failed miserably. He comes to TCU, puts it all together, instills his offense, and of course, TCU goes on that magical run of winning all those close comeback wins, and Sonny Dykes was leading it all. Our number 15 coach in all of college football is Sonny Dykes of TCU. At number 14, a national championship coach in Mack Brown at North Carolina. One thing I've got to say about Mack Brown out of the gate is that every program, meaning North Carolina, then Texas, and now North Carolina again, he lifted the program, and then the program went south after he left. We'll see what happens after he leaves Chapel Hill for his second stay. He instantly lifted North Carolina, coming off 2 rough 5-19 seasons under Larry Fedora, to winning status. Now this past season, though, with Drake May at quarterback, a 9-1 start. They faltered at the end. They lost at Georgia Tech, blew a 17-point lead. They looked awful down the stretch, got blown out by Clemson in the ACC championship game, and we see from Clemson's outings against South Carolina and Tennessee, that was not a special football team. It is time to break through at North Carolina. He has lifted them. Mack Brown has done the most recent Matt Campbell-type job. He has lifted a bad program with more resources and more talent in the area to respectable, strong, contending status. But now it's time to break through. Mack Brown's done it before. Will he do it as an elder statesman at North Carolina? Mack Brown's at number 14 in the nation. At number 13, we go to Wisconsin and Luke Fickell. Remarkable job at Cincinnati, of course. Took over a 4-8 team, lifted them to a college football playoff appearance, and were, without argument, the top team, not just in the American Conference, but in the group of 5. For Cincinnati to have 9 players selected in the NFL draft is unthinkable. Now he goes to Wisconsin. He is revamping the offense, bringing in Phil Longo from North Carolina. We will see how that fits at Wisconsin. Of course, he's going to have to adjust the roster to play to that style of offense, but I expect Luke Fickell to succeed and do it almost instantly at Wisconsin. Things will be different in the Big Ten, certainly, but Luke Fickell had that experience at Ohio State in 2011. He is well prepared. Our number 13 coach in college football is Luke Fickell, Wisconsin. At number 12, we go to the SEC, and a highly thought of coach, a very controversial coach, a guy that likes to speak his mind and is very entertaining in the process, and also leads a very entertaining offense. That's Lane Kiffin, Ole Miss. His team got off to a rocket start at 7-0, then they fell apart. Now, they did play some good football in losing some of those games, most notably to Alabama, but a poor bowl showing as he was completely outcoached by Joey McGuire at Texas Tech, getting run out of the building at the Texas Bowl. Contrary to popular belief, Lane Kiffin is not pass happy. His offenses, led by Jeff Lebby, the offensive coordinator, have led the SEC in rushing and have consistently been a dominant team. He has been a miracle worker in the transfer portal, has done a great job there. He's got 3 quarterbacks to select from. That's how he draws offensive talent. And he is recruited on the defensive side. And that may finally pay off for the Rebels here in 2023. Our number 12 coach is Lane Kiffin, Ole Miss. Stay in the SEC, go to the other side of the conference, and look at Mark Stoops and what he has done at Kentucky. Disappointing campaign in 2022. Many were expecting, me included, a 9 or 10 win campaign for Stoops. Kentucky falls to 7-6. But what a job he's done. He took over one of the doormats of college football, and he did not turn to the Deep South for the most part to get players because he knew he could not run into Tennessee, Alabama, Georgia, and others and try to get the best players in the Southeast. So he went north. He went to West Virginia, Ohio, most notably, Pennsylvania, and Michigan to pluck some of his best players and make it work at Kentucky. Run first, play defense, build the offensive line, and Kentucky has produced more NFL players than they ever have in their history, all thanks to Mark Stoops and the job that he's done in Lexington. Next up, we get to number 10, I believe, in P.J. Fleck at Minnesota. Throw out the COVID year, and if you look at the last 3 full seasons in Minneapolis, P.J. Fleck is 29-10. He turned around the Western Michigan program, and now he's broken the streak of Wisconsin wins, dominating that series against Minnesota. Now he needs to do the same against Iowa. They always lose to Iowa, and it always costs Minnesota. He also needs to develop a passing offense. This has been one of the, outside of the 2019 Kirk Shiraka year with Tanner Morgan at quarterback, this has been one of the worst passing offenses in all of college football, and that is the missing ingredient for P.J. Fleck to build Minnesota to be a premier winner in the Big Ten. At number 10, as we start our top 10 coaches rankings, P.J. Fleck, Minnesota. On to number 9, we go to Tennessee, and Josh Heupel took over a 3-7 team riddled by all sorts of NCAA allegations, violations, and not necessarily a great culture at the program at the time that Jeremy Pruitt turned it over to Heupel. Heupel immediately turned Tennessee around, implemented an offense that many thought would not work well in the SEC, that it would wear out his defense, but he's been able to make it work and work to the tune of being arguably the most prolific offense in college football. Now, he does lose his starting quarterback in Hendon Hooker, the guy that made it all work. However, he showed in the bowl game with Joe Milton at the controls and routing that Clemson defense that Tennessee will keep the pace going and will keep the yards churning and the points on the scoreboard. The offense has been stellar. The defense, Josh Heupel needs to recruit and needs to build up the defense, of course. From 3-7 to 7-6, now 11-2. Our number 9 coach in college football is Josh Heupel, Tennessee. On to number 8. And a coach that I took some criticism for ranking outside of the top 10 just barely last season. And he turned in a stellar campaign, especially through the first 12 games of the regular season. And that, of course, is Lincoln Riley, USC. USC was dead. They were awful. They were ignored for one of the few times in their history in 2021 at 4-8. Now, Lincoln Riley has taken advantage of the transfer portal. Had this been in an earlier era or even just prior to 2021, Lincoln Riley probably could not have pulled off what he did at USC in the Pac-12 in going to the conference championship game, winning 11 games, producing another Heisman winner in Caleb Williams. And, of course, he recruited better, slightly better than Bob Stoops did at Oklahoma, upgraded there. And now it looks to be nothing but a trajectory skyward at USC, going to the Big Ten in 2024 with Lincoln Riley at the helm. However, 6 seasons as head coach, both at Oklahoma and USC, and his teams have yet to produce a respectable, let alone dominant defense. That is the task at hand. Lincoln Riley, our 8th-rated coach in college football at USC. On to number 7, and a team and a coach that Lincoln Riley may be battling with to win conference championships in future years, and that's Ryan Day, Ohio State. Of course, Urban set him up. Some may say at third base, but he has built a quarterback wide receiver centric program and developed and recruited, then developed, then got them ready for the pros. Quarterback wide receivers in college football. They have been ridiculous at those two positions. They have been considered soft. That's what their detractors might say. The Georgia Bulldogs may disagree. They probably came within one play, a missed field goal of winning the national championship. However, it didn't get accomplished. So Ryan Day still is saddled with playoff and championship game losses at Ohio State. And, of course, 0-2 against Michigan. This is a huge year for Ryan Day and the optics at Ohio State. There's nothing wrong. There's nothing broken. But Ryan Day needs to beat Michigan, of course. That is job number one in Columbus. Our number 7 coach in college football, Ryan Day, Buckeyes. Let's go to number 6 in a team that Ohio State defeated in the previous season's Rose Bowl. And that, of course, is Utah and Kyle Whittingham, who has built a rock-solid program. Stable in every such way. Call this Iowa, but they're doing just about everything right. They've even won with offense. So this program has been flexible enough to build front 7 on defense and run the football is the identity. Now they get a quarterback in Cam Rising over the last 2 years, and they have fallen off to a certain extent on the defensive side of the ball, but they've been able to account for it by scoring more points and producing prolific offense. And, of course, they won another Pac-12 championship, and they got to another Rose Bowl. Kyle Whittingham trying to lift Utah to the very top of college football. He's almost there, and he is our number 6 coach in college football. Let's get to the top 5. And, again, this is the voice of college football. And please like the video, share the videos out on social media, and subscribe right here. We discuss college football constantly. Our number 5 coach in all of college football had something to prove this season, and he generally did. And that's Brian Kelly, moving from Notre Dame to LSU. He built a national power at Notre Dame. No, he did not win a national championship. Yes, he got embarrassed at times on a national stage to the likes of the best teams in the SEC and elsewhere. However, he probably hit the ceiling at Notre Dame. We will see what Marcus Freeman is able to accomplish there. Now he goes to LSU, where he says there is no excuse. You win SEC championships, and when you win SEC championships, that means you are in prime position to win it all. He complained of limitations at Notre Dame, and now no such limitations. Had a successful 2022, everything taken into consideration, and really it was that one game in Death Valley against Alabama that turned the whole narrative around. They also had impressive wins against Ole Miss and Mississippi State. They win the bowl game. They go to the SEC championship game. Sure, they get blown out, but it's to Georgia. Everybody can forgive that. There is more work to do for Brian Kelly, but for right now, he is the SEC Western Division championship coach at number 5. Now we go to our final 4, and we go to the defending 2-time Big Ten championship coach. Michigan fans, some never thought that they would ever hear that come out of anyone's mouth unless they were talking about Bo Schembechler. But that is the accomplishment of one Jim Harbaugh. Back-to-back wins against Ohio State, back-to-back conference championships, back-to-back college football playoff appearances. Mission accomplished, right? Well, national championship would be the next in line. And, of course, Jim Harbaugh would love to win a national championship, and he would love to win a Super Bowl championship. And that, for a lot of detractors, is the problem, because he can't decide whether he wants to coach at the collegiate level or at the next level. I am in no way and would never doubt Jim Harbaugh's love for Michigan, the university, the football program. If there's ever been a Michigan man, this is the guy. Yes, it's an impressive resume. He's won at Stanford. He's won at the NFL level. He's got the 4th best winning percentage in NFL history, but he's finally winning big at Michigan. Now got to complete the deal. Jim Harbaugh, number 4 in our coaches' rankings. At number 3, still hanging on to number 3 because I believe in the guy. I believe in what he's built. It's remarkable to look back and see what he's done at Clemson. Dabo Swinney built an elite program from 2015 to 2020, and we could see it coming starting in 2011 with that Orange Bowl appearance and him cleaning house, getting Brent Venables, building a staff, building that program. Then they reached the elite. They reached the top of the hill in 2015. They beat Bama in 2016. They have that remarkable 6-year run. Now, they don't win the ACC championship in 2021. They lose 3 games, and they lose all their big non-conference games. South Carolina, Tennessee, and Notre Dame this past season, and the offense looked deplorable. So they get rid of the quarterback, they get rid of the offensive coordinator, and we shall see if Dabo Swinney has fixed the issues and if Clemson is not only able to return to the elite of college football, but hold off Florida State in the process. He's got a new challenge, and Garrett Riley could hold the key. Our number 3 coach in college football remains Dabo Swinney, Clemson. Now we're down to the final 2. You know who they are. Which way do we slice them? One of them is definitely number 1 of all time, but he is currently number 2. Nick Saban, Bama. The GOAT was just 2 plays away, or possibly just 1 play away from reaching the college football playoff, and then who knows. But this team has been shaky the last 2 years in games in which in earlier seasons they would have put teams the likes of LSU 2 years ago and Auburn 2 years ago, Texas A&M this past season. They would have put those teams away. They are not able to do that. The defense has not been nearly as dominant. And, of course, Nick Saban going with a new offensive coordinator and a new defensive coordinator this season with Tommy Rees and Kevin Steele. He still runs a phenomenal program that brought in 9 5-stars in the 2023 recruiting class. And, again, they were just 2 plays away, 1 play away from a college football playoff appearance. So for those that think the demise is clear for Nick Saban, think again. And now to number 1. I don't believe there's a question. At this point, last offseason, we would have had a great debate between Saban and Smart. But after Kirby Smart backed up the 21 championship with another national championship, albeit he needed a missed field goal from Ohio State, the recruiting is ridiculous and has been. He's a grinder. He's just about everything you would want from a college football coach. Even his worst issue was considered to be a pedestrian offense. And if you watch Georgia play offense the last 2 years, and especially this past season with Stetson Bennett at quarterback, they lit it up. They were dominant. Dominant up front, pounding the rock, but coming off the play action and just flat out the aerial assault, Georgia is getting it done. They have passed Bama, and they are the number 1 program in college football, and the number 1 reason and responsible for it would be Kirby Smart. Those are our rankings. That's our top 20. Again, we will go live this weekend and get your feedback on our 1 through 69 rankings of the Power 5 coaches in college football. And once again, here's the top 20. Kirby Smart, number 1, Georgia. Nick Saban, number 2, Alabama. Clemson's Dabo Swinney's at number 3. Michigan and Jim Harbaugh at number 4. Brian Kelly at number 5 from LSU. Kyle Whittingham, Utah, number 6. Ohio State's Ryan Day is 7th. At number 8, Lincoln Riley, USC. Josh Heupel, number 9 from Tennessee. We've got PJ Fleck, Minnesota at 10. Mark Stoops, Kentucky at 11. Lane Kiffin, Ole Miss at number 12, followed by Luke Fickell, Wisconsin. And then to round out the rest of the top 20, Mack Brown, North Carolina. Sonny Dykes, TCU. Arkansas, Sam Pittman. Dave Clawson of Wake Forest. Then we've got Mike Gundy, Oklahoma State. Penn State's James Franklin. Kalen DeBoer of Washington. And there is your top 20. But we ranked them all. Check out the other videos, and we will get together live right here at the Voice of College Football.